Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, and the other heroes that have been on the league make this one a team that... Wow, that take went well between someone messaging the out of me and coughing up my lungs. We're in a good place. Hello there, heroes. I'm the Orange Ranger, and welcome to another A Comically Long Hiatus video. The Power Rangers have not had all that great a history with crossovers. There was the Masked Rider backdoor pilot, A Friend in Need. There was their crossover with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Next Mutation, in Power Rangers in Space Shell Shocked. And there was even a comic that was a crossover between Power Rangers Turbo and Beetleborgs Metallics. And none of them were really all that good. However, none of the heroes that the Power Rangers have crossed over with in the past were anywhere near the caliber of heroes that the Rangers are crossing over with this time around. If you are a fan of superheroes in general, and I do not care if you are Team DC or Team Marvel, you have to recognize that the Justice League is one of the greatest collections of superheroes that's ever been conceived. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Flash, and all of the other heroes that have been a part of the League create a lineup that truly rivals the Power Rangers. Most would probably say greatly exceeds the Power Rangers. So, what happens when teenagers with attitude meet the world's greatest superheroes? Let's find out by taking a look at Justice League Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 1, number 2, and number 3. So, to start off, I'd like to give you some background on this miniseries, but I couldn't find much. The information is pretty scant. It's basically pretty simple as far as I can tell. Boom and DC had already teamed up once doing a Gotham Academy Lumberjanes crossover miniseries. Interestingly, the interviews I've read with the main writer of this series, Tom Taylor, and artist and colorist Stephen Byrne, really kind of skirt around where the idea came from. They just basically say that DC and Boom together emailed each of them and asked them for a story pitch and some artwork respectively, and they loved what was provided. Tonally, Taylor said that he wanted to strike somewhere between the Injustice video games and comics, which are quite dark, and the Justice League TV series, which is very light. He also said he took some inspiration from Kyle Higgins' run on MMPR as well as MMPR Pink. I will say I was at first surprised that Higgins wasn't a writer on this, but on reflection, he is helming an ongoing series, so they likely didn't want to take him away from that. Well, let's see, a Boom Studios first issue? That's gonna be some variant covers. However, a bit of restraint is shown. There are only 6. The covers aim to pair up Rangers and League members. Some of them make sense. Superman and Tommy are teamed up, incredibly powerful characters that are probably a bit overexposed. Cyborg and Billy is an obvious pairing, the brains of their operations. That's where it starts to get a little bit weird. Jason is teamed with Wonder Woman, which I actually like, the true leaders, the hearts of their teams. Batman is paired with Kimberly because they both have wings? I feel like they didn't want to team 1D with Kim or Trini, feeling that was too obvious, but then got stuck with the fact that they had to put Kimberly with somebody. Flash is teamed with Zack and Green Lantern with Trini, and I feel this is avoiding another, perhaps touchier issue. The Green Lantern in this series is John Stewart, a black man. So you think he might team up with Zack, but when the Power Rangers fandom already has some residual issues with the Black Ranger being black, yeah. So, let's get to the actual comic, shall we? We start with a classic superhero comic story technique, starting in the middle of the story to create a sense of mystery. Well, after establishing where we are. Angel Grove, home to the Power Rangers, home to their families and their friends. Over 376,000 people live in Angel Grove. Or they did. Just for the record, 376,000 people would make Angel Grove the 9th largest city in California, just behind Oakland and just ahead of Bakersfield. I can't decide if that makes Angel Grove feel too big or too small. So anyway, what about that whole "or they did"? Angel Grove is gone. We see a Borg-like crater in the ground and just some of the outlying buildings. We see the unmorphed Rangers stunned and saddened, with Kim just saying, "No." Zach is slumped over and feels even worse, thinking that it's his fault. He's told it's not by Superman, who happens to be there. He alludes to arguing with someone, the initial implication being that this might have been caused by a fight between the Rangers and the League. But Superman tells Zach to stand up and that he knows who was responsible for this.
Excuse me, but will somebody come back to Earth and pick me up because I am totally confused.
Let's take a step back a day and a half. Zach teleports to the command center where the other Rangers chide him for being late. He apologizes, saying he got into an argument with his parents about disappearing too often. As Kim points out, he can't really win that one without breaking one of Zordon's rules. Zach asks what's going on, and Zordon says that Alpha 5 is missing. Oh man, I've seen this one. He went outside to look at the ocean, got struck by lightning, got amnesia. You'll find him somewhere in Angel Grove, talking to a suitcase. Jason gives the team their orders. They are each teleporting to a different sector of the command center's perimeter. Whomever finds Alpha contacts the team with his location. It's Zach who ends up finding Alpha, tucked inside a cave with severe damage to his chest. Zach calls the team and then teleports straight back to the command center. Alpha starts melting.
I'm melting! Melting!
And Zordon says something is wrong. No kidding. But no, it's more than that, and Zordon tells Zach to teleport Alpha away right now. Not sure why Zordon can't do that himself, and Zach seems equally confused. And then Alpha explodes right next to Zach. Zach survives this because of course he does. In fact, it seems to have been a pretty small-scale bomb designed to just blow a hole in the wall. Oh no. Oh yes! Lord Zed, who is amazingly drawn here by the way, and a squad of Z-Putties enter the command center. Zed confronts Zordon, but Zach, lots of Z's going on here, gets up from the explosion and morphs. By the way, get used to seeing various special effects in sort of a middle state. Seems to be kind of a thing in this series. However, Zach is still pretty badly hurt, and Zed smacks him with his staff. The Z-Putties hold him, but he keeps lunging at Zed. Zed admires his tenacity, that even now he thinks he can defeat him. Zach says he doesn't need to defeat him, just get him out of there. He activates the teleporter as Zordon screams for him not to. Apparently, the teleporter was damaged. So he can tell that, but he can't activate it himself? And Zach could end up anywhere. We see Zed and Zach, as well as a Z-Putty in what I guess is the teleportation stream, or some sort of dimensional tunnel. Zed demands Zach let go of him, and he's happy to oblige. Zach hits the ground hard. We cut back to the command center, kind of a hard cut for a comic actually, as the other Rangers arrive and see what happened. They morph, despite only needing to face off with the remaining Z-Putties, though I guess to be fair, they didn't really know what was going on. Trini finds Alpha's melting head.
Who thought a good little girl like you could destroy my beautiful wickedness?
But Zordon explains the situation. Back over with Zach, we find him fighting a few Z-Putties who came along for the ride, when someone pulls up and demands he drop the axe. That someone is Batman, as Zordon finishes telling the Rangers he's not in our world. Zach, who as Batman points out is badly hurt and probably concussed, confuses Batman for a monster. Not a huge leap, but still kind of a leap. Batman, for his part, handles things like a pro, saying Zach seems just to be hurt, and he just needs to calm down and put down the axe. Zach refuses and attacks. Batman blocks it, fights Zach, and puts him down. And this brings up an issue I have not only with this scene, but our own fandom, in fact. So people that are into fandoms really love talking about versus situations, this hero or group versus that hero or group. And a weird thing that I've repeatedly noticed is that Power Rangers fans are some of the most insecure fans when it comes to these situations. Most Power Rangers fans don't think the Rangers could beat anyone else. Power Rangers versus Voltron? Come on, Voltron, easy. The Power Rangers versus the Ninja Turtles? Have you seen how experienced the Ninja Turtles are at fighting? The entire Legendary battle versus Goku? How many times would you need to clone every Ranger before it was a fair fight? But my friends, the Power Rangers are friggin' superheroes. It is plainly and clearly established in the show's canon that their suits make them better in every conceivable way. Stronger, faster, and better at fighting. Now, we can have an argument about a Power Ranger versus a Goku or a Superman or whatever, but Batman is not a superhero, even if Taylor called him one in an interview, saying that the first superhero Zack encounters in this story is Batman. Batman does not have superpowers. Could he block Zack's axe swing? Maybe, with those special gauntlets. Could he take a punch from Zack, shove him down, and hold him there? Not a chance, not even with Zack injured. If he's morphed, Zack wins. Anyway, the drama of not knowing where Zack is doesn't last very long, as apparently the teleporter is stuck in whatever wrong setting it was knocked into, and the other Rangers just teleport directly to the same spot.
Suspense!
Very pretty full-page spread here. If Zack were somehow in this shot, it would make an excellent poster. The next fight proves the point I was just making, as Batman calls for the help of the Justice League. Why? Because he's fighting superheroes, or as he calls the Rangers, enhanced beings. Increased durability, increased speed, and increased strength. It is nice to see a hero like Batman pointing out that the Rangers have superpowers, though. A little bit of street cred for the Rangers. The help Batman calls for is several states away, but moving through them very fast. The Rangers get Zack up to speed, and all of them pull their weapons. Were they planning to use the Power Blaster on the Justice League? Awesome! But then their weapons disappear in a flash. Oh, I'm sorry. Their weapons disappear due to Flash. Using the distraction from Flash arriving, Batman hops in the Batmobile and fires missiles at the Rangers. I really love how they're going all out here, and that's definitely about to go next level. Well, first the Rangers want to get Zack and get out, but Zack refuses to leave. First of all, he feels like this is his fault, since he brought Fake Alpha directly back to the command center. But second, and just as important, he brought Zed here with him. Somewhere. With retreat not an option, Kim chooses escalation and summons her Dinozord. Befitting the logic of the show, it arrives in another dimension because of shut up, don't worry about it. It hovers in front of the Batmobile, and then Flash calls the Watchtower, the League's HQ in space, in a panic. Cyborg answers, and Flash says they need the big guns. Why? Because they're fighting a group of enhanced beings in Gotham. Makes sense that Batman showed up first then. And, oh, by the way, a giant pink flying dinosaur robot just grabbed the Batmobile. Issue number 1 is a great start to this miniseries. It primarily focuses on the Power Rangers, but as I saw mentioned in interviews about it, it's far more likely that Power Rangers fans know who the Justice League are than Justice League fans knowing who the Power Rangers are. We do start en medias res, but there is some mystery there, so that's fine. The artwork is fantastic. It's different from the Boom MMPR line, but it actually feels kind of more like a standard comic, and this might be kind of sacrilege, but I think I like it better. The Rangers are well characterized, as are the League members that we see. It is a great superhero fight, as both sides slowly escalate the battle as the situation calls for it. There are a couple of strange moments, like how Zack survives a direct bomb hit, unmorphed, in fighting shape no less, and how Kim summoned her dinosaur to another dimension, but overall, a fantastic start. Issue number 1 gets a 4 out of 5. Issue number 2 seems to have just the one cover, and I really like it. It's the two teams leaping towards the reader as a combined unit. Not Rangers on the left, League on the right, not their matchups from the first covers, just a single mashed up team. The Rangers, save Kim, who's still in her Zord, circle up and wonder where the red one went.
Hold on! Where's Red?
Jason thinks he vanished, but Billy realizes what's going on. Flash is running around them faster than they can see. Why hasn't he attacked? Because he's assessing them. Billy checks in with Kim to make sure she still has Batman, who I'd assume would have evacuated the car by now, and she says she does, but someone's flying up there with her. Flying in what? No, just himself. Flying. Because it's Superman. She dodges him, but he catches up and politely asks her to land her pterodactyl. Green Lantern asks Flash what they're dealing with, and he says that from what they're saying, the Rangers have absolutely no idea what's going on. Sure, they attacked Batman, but he's pretty scary to see at random. He creates an energy shield around them to hold them for questioning, but they break out of the field in a pretty creative fashion by summoning their Zords in what is honestly a gorgeous 2-page spread, even if it still doesn't make any sense. Okay, so yeah, again, the Rangers summon their Zords to another dimension, and on top of that, the Zords entered the containment field with them and grew out of it, shattering it. Did Taylor not realize that the Dinozords had actual physical hiding places on Earth? It kind of seems like he thought they just kind of grew out of the power coins or something. Not that we needed to know that the Rangers are heroes, but we do get reminded that they are still focused on being heroes, as Jason tells Trini and Billy to position their Zords between the fight and the buildings to protect the civilians. Meanwhile, Tommy, and Zack fire on Green Lantern, managing to break his energy shield and knock him into the river. Cyborg teleports down as Flash retrieves Lantern from the river, who says he'll be fine. Cyborg blasts the Dragon Zord, and Jason blasts back. Flash uses his ability to move so fast that he can move through matter to enter the T-Rex Zord and drag Jason out. He's about to tell Jason what the Five Fingers said to the face when a hand grabs him. It's Superman telling him to stop. At the same time, Kim tells Jason and tells him to stop, saying these aren't the bad guys. How can she be so sure? Because apparently, after getting pulled over by Super Cop, Kim got herself lassoed by Wonder Woman, which forces the person grabbed by it to tell the truth. Though, all that means is that the Power Rangers are the good guys. The League could still be evil, right? It might have been cool to see Kim and Superman lassoed together, so they were both forced to tell the truth, and then Kim could see that she could trust them as well. The teams, knowing that they're on the same side now, introduce themselves, with Zack especially apologizing for attacking Batman, but pointing out that the good guys usually smile. Why don't you smile? The Rangers tell the League about Lord Zed, and we see what happened to him. Somehow, separating from Zack at the moment he did, sent Lord Zed into space. He's teleported into a technological-looking city. He demands to know from an alien nearby where he is, but the alien just fears drawing his attention. Zed turns and sees a huge pair of eyes past the buildings. "Oh good, Lokar! I was wondering if you were coming back!" Zed actually plays this really smart. It doesn't matter if the thing he's dealing with is huge or he is tiny. He just needs to get bigger. He uses one of his growth grenades to shatter through a glass dome and comes face to face with Brainiac. Really quick for you Ranger fans, Brainiac is a Superman villain, a cyborg whose main villain is taking entire cities and shrinking them down. Sometime later, Zed and Brainiac have had a chat on Brainiac's skull ship. Wonder if it reminds Zed of Master Vile's ship. Anyway, Zed points out that they have different methods, but have something in common. The heroes of their Earths keep getting in their way. Zed knows Brainiac wants a city from Earth for his collection, But does it need to be this Earth? He offers Brainiac the chance to take a city from another Earth for the low, low price of some of the creatures from his bottle cities. Meanwhile, the heroes make friends, even as the Rangers say they could have squashed the League with their Zords, while Batman points out that the last robot dinosaur that attacked him ended up as a trophy in the Batcave. And that is actually true. In fact, every iteration of Batman seems to eventually involve him defeating and taking as a trophy a robotic T-Rex. Was it perhaps this one? He has been compared to Batman. As the teams joke around a little, suddenly Cyborg notices reports all over the internet, with Superman just hearing people starting to talk. We see what all the talk is about in a 2-page spread that really doesn't feel all that necessary, showing that giant octopus monsters are attacking major cities across the globe. Superman calls in the cavalry, aka every Justice League member and reservist. Batman points the finger at Zack, blaming him for this. Kind of pointless, seeing as Zack himself said he brought Zed here and that's why they couldn't leave, but hey, Bruce, whatever makes you feel better. The Rangers don't take it personally, saying they're going to help fight it, because that's just what they do. Issue number 2 definitely feels a bit more transitionary, but continues the incredible fight between the two teams before we see how they'd resolve it without destroying major cities. Zed and Brainiac come together, and each of them has believable motives and methods. The falling action of the Rangers and the League coming to terms is quickly countered with the new rising action of the octopus monsters that leads us into issue number 3. This was just as good as issue number 1, and besides the Zord thing that actually cropped up in issue number 1, there were no real weird missteps. Issue number 2 gets a 5 out of 5. Issue number 3's cover is confusing. It's pretty cool on the surface, as the Justice League seems to be fighting the Megazord. But that's the thing. We just saw at the end of the previous issues that the teams are no longer fighting. I guess it can make us wonder if something's going to change that, but this probably would have been better as the cover for issue 2, making us at least think that that fight from issue 1 would escalate all the way to the Megazord. Superman, who has traveled to Cairo, and probably around the world very quickly, explains that there's one monster attacking a major city on each continent. Does that mean that there's a monster on Antarctica? Probably don't need to worry about that one. Batman realizes Lord Zed is trying to split them up. The League agrees to split up, but Batman isn't sure. Jason suggests splitting up and sticking together. A line that doesn't make the first bit of sense, as Flash points out, but his meaning is actually obvious. They'll split off into teams of one Ranger and one League member. Jason says they're still patched into the teleporters in their dimension, meaning they can teleport anywhere on this planet.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Batman doesn't like this idea any better, since they don't know the Rangers well enough to fight beside them, and that this isn't their world. Reflecting how valid they consider Batman's concerns, everyone else starts working to make the team up possible. Tommy then spells it out for Batman. If you don't want to work with us, then stay out of our way. Cyborg calls in the reserves, and reflecting the T for teen rating this comic has, this is actually the first time I've seen a comic book rating, we see Black Canary getting out of bed with Green Arrow, who is getting dressed. Beast Boy and Starfire, most famously from the Teen Titans, Aquaman and Mera, and Shazam also answer the call, as Cyborg explains that today they will be joined by large robotic dinosaurs, piloted by a team of allies called the Power Rangers. Cyborg prepares to teleport Batman to Australia, but then a computer virus infiltrates the Watchtower and takes down the teleporters. Zack tells Batman that now he doesn't have a choice, and if he wants to go help, he's gonna need to join up. Get in the Mastodon. As the Mastodon teleports to Melbourne, Australia, we see that help has already arrived. Supergirl, a female Green Lantern that I believe is Jessica Cruz, Batgirl, Kid Flash, and Hawkgirl. A rather young group, these. Batman wonders what the Cthulhu thing is, but Zack has no idea. Zed normally just creates monsters from regular things. Batman confirms that it's also not normal for their world. Over in Tokyo, Japan,
in case you confused it with Tokyo, French Guiana,
we see an interesting reflection of the team not being together, as this group still feels that these are Zed's monsters. Wonder Woman asks him for advice on taking them out. She says to just keep hitting them, they can only take so much punishment. However, the next page, a nice splash page of the teams attacking in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Seattle, Washington, USA, and Dublin, Ireland, implies the team is still communicating, as Kim's advice got through to all of them. By the by, this really could have been a 2-page spread. It's better than one of the monsters attacking from issue number 2. Then, Brainiac makes his move, sending down drones to land on each of the Zords. They are deactivated, and the drones head inside the Zords and take the Rangers' power coins. 1D catches the pterodactyl Zord and tries to reach Kim. She drops a great Hera, making Flash wonder what's up. She says to get the Rangers out of their Zords, now. Brainiac has taken control. The League gets the Rangers out of their Zords, Batman using explosive gel to get into the Mastodon and get Zack out. Zack protests. They took their communicators and power coins, and worse, said they were traveling to the Rangers' world. The Zords then teleport away, and the monsters vanish. It was all a ruse, a trick to get the Rangers' coins and Zords. The League takes the Rangers to the Watchtower, where they marvel at how young the Rangers are. But I mean, they've worked with the Teen Titans. The Rangers are basically a team of Robins, right? Zack is still beating himself up, but Superman says Zed isn't your villain. Yes he is. Superman's point is that they aren't responsible for what Zed does. They can only fight to stop him. But Zed is their villain. They are willing to keep fighting Zed, but now they're stuck on the DC Earth. Flash says that he can cross dimensions, but it usually happens accidentally, and he likely couldn't bring anybody with him without them being torn apart molecularly. Just as a quick little aside, Flash once invented a cosmic treadmill to travel through time. Not the kind of thing you can make up. Trini asks for the ideas that don't involve being turned into cosmic soup, and Billy has one, asking if the DC Earth has a Large Hadron Collider. Fortunately, that invention seems to be one that all advanced universes discover eventually. In fact, it's even at the same facility in both worlds, the CERN facility. The Rangers wonder how they'll be allowed to use the collider, and Cyborg says someone just has to ask nicely. They can do that? Well, one of them can. Superman steps in and plays the galaxy's Boy Scout, telling the scientists they're doing great work, and he needs a favor: to borrow the LHC to save the Rangers' world. You know, that would seem to be a weird reason, but other cosmic realities are kind of exactly what these scientists are investigating. After some time passes so we don't have to deal with the technobabble, the scientists say it's a workable theory, but it's just a theory. Superman talks about how many of the people here, Flash, Green Lantern, Cyborg, Wonder Woman, and yes, Billy as well, are greatly intelligent and wise minds. Batman is Batman. One of the scientists says this science doesn't exist, which is a funny thing to read in a comic book, but Superman tells them to make it exist to save the Rangers' world. Let's punch a hole in space. Let's I Am a Man punch it? Issue number 3 is where things really turn towards the major arc of the series. The teams come together fighting the octopus monsters, and Zed and Brainiac's plan is revealed. The Rangers are stripped of their powers and have to trust and rely on the League to help them. As we get into the meat of the issue, the action does fade a little bit, returning to setting up plot for future issues. Still pretty darn good though. Issue number 3 gets a 4 out of 5. Overall, the first 3 issues are a great start to this miniseries, and I'm really digging it. Will it be able to stick the landing and deliver a satisfying conclusion to this miniseries? Or is it going to end in kind of a mess, like the Pink miniseries did? Find out next time when I review issues 4, 5, and 6. That's going to do it for another comically long hiatus video. Thank you folks so much as always for watching. In the comments below, let me know what you thought of the first 3 issues of the Justice League crossover miniseries, and what you thought of my review of them. Make sure to subscribe to the channel to see all of my videos and ring the bell, get your notifications set up so you get notified whenever I post brand new videos like these, a comically long hiatus videos. And if you thought I did really well in this video and would like to reward me with a little bit of financial support, you can head over to digitaltipjar.com/orangerangervid and toss in whatever little tip change you deem appropriate, and I will be grateful for anything that lands inside. Until next time, heroes, may the power protect you. There was the Kamen Rider. Did I actually write Kamen Rider? No, I did write Masked Rider. I'm just dumb. However, none. Let's find out by taking a look at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the Justice League video with severe damage to his Dookie Dink. Whoever finds Alpha contacts the rest of the farts with his farty fart, designed to just blow a hole in the wall. Because they're fighting an enhanced group of farts, the Rangers save Kim, who is still in her Zord, circle up and run with... The Rangers tell the League about Lord Zed and... Zed knows Brainiac wants a city from Earth from his but this probably would have been better as the issue... A nice splash page of the teams attacking in Buenos Aires. Wonder Woman asks Kim for advice, and she's... Over in Tokyo, Japan, just in case you confused it with Tokyo, French Guiana, and the drones head inside the Zords and take the Rangers' power coins. 1D catches up, catches. One of the scientists says, this scientist says,